Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm Nez, and welcome to the Unstable Podcast.
Let's get into it.
So, clearly, y'all can see we have a different setup today because we're in the same place.
Yeah, you know where we're at?
Where we at?
We're in Florida.
Period.
Remember our first episode was in Philly? We was
It
on the
was.
rooftop and we just started our journey.
Yeah. Now look at us.
Now look at us.
9 episodes deep.
Mm-hmm. She decided to come visit me, finally.
I did. I had to.
Yeah.
She threatened me, so.
I don't think it was a threat. I think it was more so like, about damn time. You know what I mean?
Right. But
That's it.
It was a little threatening.
Are you glad you came?
Yes, very much so.
Have you been having a good time?
We have had a time.
Wow.
This week.
We really been brunching and getting snacks and and drinking.
On some grown woman stuff.
Yeah.
It's been great.
But none of them is disappointing. None of the places we've chosen.
No. And we've had some good food, too. We might have to put some pictures for y'all.
Yeah, because you know we got the pictures.
We've been eating good.
Oh. So, yeah, she's leaving me today, unfortunately, but she has been here for 4 days. So.
I have. I wasn't aware that someone had some days off when I booked my trip down here, so I have to leave.
She don't got to, but she says she won't change the flight for the sake of me.
That's simply not what was said, y'all.
Anyways, we got to be grateful for what we got because the next time you're going to be in Florida is when?
In a month.
Mm-hmm. What's happening?
Match day, y'all. I find out where I get my big girl job. I'm manifesting where because I'm manifesting that I'm going to get a big girl job.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just find out where the big girl job is in a month.
Yeah.
It's
God got
crazy.
her. She going to get what she want. You're going to get what you want. You
It's-
are. So, yeah.
Praises
she'll
to
be
the
back
Most High, yes.
literally a month from today.
But not here, though, in Tampa.
Yeah. Florida.
Different
She'll be
city.
back in the
We'll be
state
back
of
in
Florida.
Yeah.
But,
It'll probably be exponentially warmer, too,
mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's cold today.
Love
for me.
that.
It's cold for Floridians.
It's nice outside.
It's nice. It's 45 degrees.
It's beautiful.
Anyway. Anyway.
Go ahead.
This might be one of the last long stints of visits we have together, though, because then she gonna be on the grind. She gonna be grinding.
I'm gonna be a working girly.
I know, but I'll come visit you.
Please.
I will. I'm gonna make time.
My 48 hours off. That's what I'm gonna get. My 48 hours. I'm gonna be happy about it.
I'm
Got a golden weekend. Pause.
Okay.
Side rant. I don't understand why the medical community calls a Saturday and a Sunday off a golden weekend.
because it don't happen.
We are calling a regular weekend off a golden weekend.
You know what? Shout out to all of our healthcare workers who have to use that term because that's tough.
We really just glorified a regular weekend off, like a regular Saturday, Sunday off. Like it's a golden weekend. Like it's not even 3 days. It's a regular 2 days.
That's what you signed up for.
It is. I'm not complaining for the sign up. I'm complaining for the glorified name for a regular
Just
weekend off.
normalize,
Just call I have a weekend off.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Whatever. Side
That's
rant.
It's okay.
Anyway, today we're
So-
chatting about health in general. So last episode we were talking about the health.
The mental.
Of
the
the
injuries
mental?
unseen.
Yes.
You know?
Today we're just talking about just your physical well-being, your
Yeah.
health in general. And by no means am I giving any of y'all medical advice currently. No,
Mm-mm.
these are just our thoughts and opinions on physical health and
And our journeys.
our journeys, yes.
Because we did that with the mental health. We shared some of our journeys.
Right.
I thought it would be a cool episode because I think the last one was more geared towards my passions in life and kind of bringing up this topic about Nez's passions and how, again, the physical health journeys have been for us.
They are
young
very
women.
intertwined, though.
They are. That's why I'm glad we're hitting on both of them.
Very intertwined, very much so.
Yeah.
So
Where do we start?
I'll start with my health journey.
Okay. Get comfy, y'all. Get comfy.
I feel like with my mom being a doctor, my mom's a doctor, and specifically a pediatrician, so she's known what's going on the ins and outs since we was the babies. And mom being a doctor, dad being a strength and conditioning coach, fitness director, all of that. He's gone through all the different phases of being a fitness coach. I feel like physical health has always been a very important part of our like life, our family dynamic growing up, all of that. So for me, like going to the doctor, going to get checked out, like was always normal. And I know like when we were kids, be like, I'm sick, my throat hurts, my stomach hurts. My mama would be like, you're fine, you're still going to school. Or she would be like, go drink some ginger ale and lay down.
Ginger ale was a cure for everybody, right?
It still is.
It just us who get a vote.
There might not be any ginger juice in the ginger ale.
Just now. I'm so sorry. What did I just say? Okay, anyway, we're back.
You know, there might not be any ginger juice in the ginger ale.
None.
But it's still the cure for any problems.
Maybe a ginger beer. Do you have ginger in ginger beer?
I would hope so. But we thought there was ginger in ginger ale too.
Yeah.
Turns out they were scamming us. I'ma still drink it though.
Yeah.
I'ma still drink it.
When I'm sick, I'm gonna drink it.
Still get me a ginger ale or a ginger tea or something. So I think on that aspect where a lot of people be like, I'm sick, mom, take me to the doctor. My mama was like, you're fine, you're going to school. So we didn't really.
I am the doctor.
Right. We
You're
didn't
good.
really get no school days in that sense.
But wait, you was homeschooled, so like school days was.
All right. I was homeschooled middle school to high school. Thank you. I had elementary school.
Did y'all hear that? She just yelled at me in my own house. Why did she do that?
Because she tried to comfort me talking about school days was at the house
But
anyway.
I would have said the same thing for me. So I was just trying to understand what you thought the school day was going. You just wanted to lay down at
No,
home?
I'm talking about elementary school when I was in school.
Okay.
When I was
Dang,
in the
I just needed some
classroom.
clarification.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, there was no, oh, you're not going to school. Like,
Yeah.
we was going to go to school. We was going to take the medicine and go to school. So things like that, I feel like were pivotal in me, like taking care of my physical health in that sense. Like I had a pediatrician since I was a kid, and shout out my pediatrician because I saw that man until I was the day before 22 years old.
I'm about to say not a ped. I don't. Not a PD.
I was not a PD.
Not a PD anymore.
I saw that man until right the day before I turned 22 because I didn't want to be an adult and get a new doctor.
Okay.
So I was in that pediatrician's office in them chairs that's too small, and they got the little kids shows and movies playing.
What your mama had to say about that? I'm really interested.
She let me do it.
Linda.
She said, I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
My doctor was great. He was the doctor that was there. He took care of me when I was a baby.
Yeah, he's a pediatrician.
Right. The same doctor.
You know what? Grey's Anatomy ain't led me astray. I know what pediatricians are.
What I'm saying is, me being born in Philadelphia,
Yes.
he was there. He was my doctor when I was born.
He delivered you?
No, that's OBGYN.
Oh, see, my Grey's Anatomy ain't that strong.
That's okay. That's all right.
Okay, but
But
he was there.
He, like, when I was born, he was my
He
doctor.
started from the beginning.
Day zero.
Okay.
And then.
I see. That's a
till
long
almost 22.
relationship. He knows
Right.
all the health concerns.
Exactly.
If any,
I didn't want to leave him. He was great.
I get that.
So, yeah, I was in that office. I couldn't even fit in the chair for real.
She said,
I was just like,
if you're watching this.
couldn't even fit in the
She
chair
said,
for real.
Yes, I'm Janez. Yes. 90.
They said, is your child
96
here?
is the birth year that I came into this earth. Yeah.
I think people were looking at me crazy because I was in there by myself with no kid. Like, I
Ma'am,
think.
did you make an appointment at the right area? Yes, I did.
Miss Daniel, that's
That's
me.
Take me back. He knows I'm coming. It's fine.
That was an experience.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like outside of like getting to this stage of my life where I got kicked off my parents' insurance because I got too old,
Yeah.
I have always been like, I'm going to go to the doctor every year. I'm going to go get my checkup every year, get my blood work every year. Like, that has just been what we do, you know? And I know that's not how it is for everyone.
Right.
Which I think has been it's a little hard because you're like, I've been ingrained, like, this is my life. And when people are like, I haven't gone to the doctor in 10 years, I'm like, oh my God, do you even know what's going on with your body? And they'd be like, no.
It'll be all right.
So I think that's the gist of my health journey. I think I've always been the person who's like, if there's an issue, like a serious issue or a question, I'm going to go to the doctor. If they want me to take this medicine, I'm going to take the medicine. Mm-hmm. Because I also had my mama that I would run things by, like, whatever. But I wouldn't say that I have, like, because I know some of it comes from, like a distrust in the medical field and doctors and all that stuff. I wouldn't say that I have that. Why? Because I trust my mama. My mama's
Absolutely.
a doctor.
I trust her too.
So
I trust her too.
I think it's been ingrained in me to, like, have some level of trust and understanding in the medical community that not all people are fortunate to have.
And I think that's where it's a good segue into my side. Growing up. I think there is a level of distrust growing up. I also think, my father questioned a lot of things, again, going back into the distrust factor. Mm-hmm. And then I think more on my mom's side, maybe there is a lack of, reliance on medicine. Like, my grandmother had lupus, and honestly, she relied a lot on her faith to, like, make sure, to trust that she was going to be okay, or that, I guess, however things ended or how they ended. So there wasn't a lot of focus on, like, medicine.
Right.
And obviously, if you know even general information about lupus, am I correct? Autoimmune disease. Thanks. But I think kind of going back to even when we're talking about mental health, kind of stigma or lack of exposure, education. And Nez knows this because, again, she's taught me a lot. She's taught me a lot about, like, focusing back on care. There's something on my lip. I see you doing it too. It's like I got.
It's not mine too.
Sorry, a little hair. Focusing on my health, and asking more questions, maybe gaining information. Let's say my parents weren't exposed to, or even in, like, my profession. If I have an understanding that people are coming to me for, like, mental health care and guidance, like, I have to go to a professional when it comes to health care and guidance, because I didn't go to med school, and then I remember too now, it's just like I can choose things that I do want to take or don't want to take.
Right.
But, for context, because we are sharing with our audience that, my parents didn't believe in, like, vaccinations. And I know that's a huge conversation. And yes, there's a level of privacy we'll keep on our podcast, but I have chosen a different direction in my healthcare when it comes to things as such. But that comes with, like, talking to providers, Nez, talking with her mom, and then just making my own decisions for myself.
Right.
But in general, I think that's where we differ. In general, we didn't go to the hospital for everything. It was kind of like ginger ale, some darn in it. Ibuprofen, you got a temperature, you're gonna be okay. Right. But, like, on the bigger stuff, I think there was still kind of that distrust and resistance from my family's kind of perspective or point of view.
And I think being on, like, this side of healthcare now, I can understand where that comes from, because a lot of times if you don't know what questions to ask, you're not going to ask any questions, right? And so you'll just say yes, yes, yes. You take something, it doesn't go well, you don't like the side effects, you don't feel like it's doing, like, you're getting better, because not all the medications or treatment options work, and they don't always work the first time. So, like, if you try something and it feels futile, like, why did I do this? And you don't know what questions to follow up or ask, of course I would be like, well, this stuff don't work. Like, why would I do that? Like, why would I go back? Why would I go to the doctor? Why would I, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But, and to that point, did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No, that was the end of my thought.
And where, because, again, we know how we talked in our last episodes that medication can be a part of a conversation with the health side too. Again, even though I'm not a doctor, I kind of describe it as, like, medicine is still a practice. Yep. Like, what works for you isn't going to work for somebody else. What treatment regimen that works for you isn't going to work for somebody else. So there is a little bit of trial and error. Yep. I think comes with it on either side of the topics that we're talking about. But we got to know what works for your body and what's going to give you the best outcome. That's how I describe it anyway. Right. Not being a doctor, but when medicine's a part of the conversation, then I'm pushing back to, like, go ask your primary. Go ask questions. Be informed. Advocate for yourself. Show up and don't minimize certain symptoms too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think medicine has changed a lot, though, from, back, just even, like, when my mom started practicing medicine to, like, me going into the field to start with medicine. I think it has changed so much because I feel like the mindset before was you go to the doctor, you do whatever the doctor tells you to do. There's no questioning, there's no conversation with your physician about, like, what your treatment plan is, what your options are. I feel like it's a much better... It's harder on both sides now because you do have to do more work. You have to, do more relationship building, and the patients aren't always just going to do what you tell them to do or what you think might be the best option for them, because it might not be the best option, at their time of life when they're coming to see you. So I do think it's more conversational. I think it's more of a values-based practice now. Yeah. Like, you come to your patient and say, hey, like, what's more important to you? Do you want to avoid surgery? Do you want to avoid medication? Do you want to get this fixed immediately? Do you want to see if you can, we can try this, and do you feel like you have time? Like, that kind of thing. I feel like it's more conversation based than you go to the doctor, they say, this is what I think you should do, and that's it, or nothing.
I think that's very respectful. It's collaborative.
Yes.
Where you... Much more. You have... Where you want to hear what your patient sees for their future, if it's long term, if it's quick, if things you want to avoid, but then to come in and say, okay, well, this is what I can do as far as a treatment plan for you based off of your values or what you're trying to avoid. And then I imagine, like, worst case scenario, this is a plan we'll have to put in place to make sure you're okay.
Which I think is why I say that I feel like it can be a little bit hard on the physician side. And I wouldn't have thought this before getting into medicine. I would have been like, it's what's best for the patient, period. Which it is, it's what's best for the patient, and their values might not always align with what your values are. But I think it could be a little bit tiring or a little bit difficult. Like, let's say the patient needs surgery, like, and that surgery is going to be the best option, the curative option, whatever. I'm using surgery because that's what I'm going into. So, but let's say, the patient needs surgery and they're like, I don't want surgery. Like, that's the last option for me. Like, that's the worst thing you could do to me is put me under the knife and give me surgery. And so I could see how that'd be frustrating as a provider, because you're like, I know this option is going to help you. It's going to be the best option for you to make a full recovery, the best recovery possible. But you're telling me you don't want to do this. Yeah. And I have to be okay and sit here and come up with options that will be best for you, given that you don't want to do this first line option. So I can see how that could be difficult. Yeah. Like, from this side of it, But it is what it is,
Well, I'm glad you can see that going into, this, again, lifelong profession that you're pursuing. One, to know maybe both sides, to be a consumer, and then also to be the provider. Yeah. And knowing that middle ground of just, like, my opinion of this isn't always, let's say, maybe the route you can go or have to go, because you are taking care of somebody and it's their life. But naturally, again, just to reiterate, we are not giving any medical advice on this podcast. No. We're just having an open discussion about our perspective
absolutely
of health and health care.
Exactly.
What do you think is, let me know if you're open to answering this, what do you think would be the most, maybe, let's say, difficult and rewarding part of maybe your pursuits into the medical field?
I already know what I think is going to be the most difficult. I think it's a combination of things. I think, for one, losing patients is always going to be hard, but it's inevitable, because you can't save everybody, no matter what you do. So I think that's going to be difficult for sure, because I feel like, as much as people don't think I am very much an empath. Very much an empath.
It's on the other side.
Yeah. No, it's over here. Yeah. I'm very much an empath, and so especially if you spend so much time, like, getting to know the patient and the patient's family, and then inevitably, like, losing a patient is going to be a difficult time. So I know that's going to be hard. I think because you have that aspect, something else that might be hard is something I hear people talk about all the time, is like empathy fatigue. Because sometimes you have to go from giving really bad news in one room to giving really good news in the next room, and it's kind of hard to flip back and forth but then still like keep your humanity and realize, you know, I'm feeling these things and I'm having these emotions happen for myself, but also for the people that I'm caring for. So when you mix that with like being a resident who's just chronically tired and chronically working, I think finding that balance, not only of my own physical health, like taking care of myself, working out, you know, making sure I'm doing fun things, whatever, but my own mental health is going to be something that I have to monitor very closely, because
I'll help you.
I know you will. You gonna make me do that.
I'm monitoring it right now.
So I think that's gonna probably be the hardest part of it, is just kind of finding that balance between giving my all and taking care of my patients, but then also I have to take care of myself to take care of my patients.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be the hardest part, especially in the beginning, because you know how they say med school is like drinking from a fire hose. They do say that, and it truly is.
I was gonna say I've never heard that, but
that's what they say.
It's
med
just
school,
like all at once.
Whoa, drown you.
Oh. Okay.
I feel like I told you this. Like,
I don't know.
My science knowledge was surpassed within 2 weeks. All the science I took years to learn prior to med school. 2 weeks. Then we were on to stuff I never heard of in my life.
Oh.
So, fire hose.
I could not.
But, like, people tell you that, and you're like, yeah, it's going to be hard. But, like, you can't, unless you've been through it, you can't understand or describe it to someone, like, what it's like.
I imagine you have to just adapt.
Yes.
You just gotta do.
Which is what I've heard residency is like.
Okay. You're equipped to do that.
So I know it's going to be hard, but I don't know what kind of hard yet. I can't sit here and pretend I know what that's going to be like. So, yeah, that's kind of what I feel like will be the hardest, that adaptation. What do I think will be the most rewarding? I feel like making a positive impact and change on people's lives is what I really look forward to. And not just the patients that I work with and the patients that I help heal, but also those around me. So
it's okay, yeah. Need a little water?
Oh my God.
Get a little water.
So sorry, y'all need a sip.
Taking a minute. I had a few coughs in there too. I just wasn't talking. Hydrate's good for the body. Let's talk about hydration for the health, shall we?
I feel like that's part of why I chose the specialty that I chose, is that it's not always an immediate fix, but I can go in and help fix something. You know, like I can put my hands on something tangible and help fix it. So I think that's something I think will be really rewarding. I feel like I have the ability to connect with my patients really well. And so I feel like being able to connect with them, help heal them, and see them off will be a very rewarding experience. But I also really like mentoring and
isn't that fun?
And like teaching.
Me too.
And like,
then are you like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Like I was the one being
yes.
taught and mentored. Like,
right.
Now I got little ducklings.
And now I got people, you know, what do I do? How do I help?
Ducklings.
You know what I mean? And so I really just like, I find that I want to be the resident / attending that people look up to, feel like they can come to with problems, come to with questions, because that's not always a welcoming and safe space for other students, other residents to come to you.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I have been unfortunate to have those experiences in med school, but I know other people have, and I've seen it happen to other people. And it's just not like, it's not a safe, welcoming space, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be like, yes, I want to teach you the things, and yes, I want you to do it right, and yes, you know, I want you to be safe for patient care and safety and health and all that. But there's a way that it can be done that doesn't make you feel like crap about yourself.
I understand. Because that's what I try to develop too. That type of space. These are hard areas, especially healthcare is a very hard area to be operating out of, and to try to be learning how to do this job appropriately. And again, not that things don't have to be direct and like to the point, because there's not a lot of, I imagine, light and fluff that you can always have.
Right. Like
but
if someone's life is at risk, like I can't be like, hey, so I need you to do. No, it's going to be more targeted and pointed. You know what I mean?
This is how you do it, and you're going to do a great job. Come on.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, I do want to touch on a point. I think you mentioned the difference between health care between when your mom was in school or let's say residency and then now. That's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
It's like the natural progression of like there are so many things adding into healthcare. It's supposed to evolve. Where I imagine your mom can't tell you fully how it would be now versus then, but
Yeah.
obviously she has a good layout of what
Right.
to expect. But I imagine that even for the next like generation, or if you have
Yeah.
a kid that wants to be a doctor.
I feel like some people don't feel that way though. So like,
Don't feel that way or not in tune that like it is evolving.
I think that some people don't feel that way. I
Huh.
feel like there's a lot of women in medicine, way more than there was before. And so like back when my mom was, in residency and such, there was no such thing as duty hours. Like you was working and working and working and that's it. Now there's duty hour limits, right? Like
I
if you go
imagine
over
that means there's a limit of how long you can be working.
yes,
at
per
one-
week. Or
per
it's
week.
supposed to be like an average this many hours per month. Like you
Just
could
like
do
over
100
that.
one week or 60 the next week, but the average needs to be 80
Okay.
per week for the whole month.
What if they're finding that there were mistakes happening?
Oh, for sure. That's why they made duty hours.
Overworking
'Cause-
people.
Being tired is the same as being like drunk sometimes. So
Ooh, and
or
zombie,
worse.
tired, drunk, trying to operate on me.
yeah,
You know
so
what I mean?
that's the reason they came up with duty hours, because people were making mistakes that they would not be making if they
Yeah.
just had some rest.
Need a nap.
Yeah. So, things like that. There's more women in medicine. There's maternity leave, like, which wasn't really a thing. Like, women having families before it was, it's like, sorry, you figure it out or you don't have a family.
Oof.
So now it's more accepted and people are having families in residency and as attendings and are balancing both. But some people don't see it that way. Some people are like, why do you need duty hours? Like, we made it through before and we are still great doctors now. Why do we have to change something? And I can understand, because some people are like, if I went through this and I made it out okay, then you should be able to go through this and make it out okay. Which it's a common theme in medicine.
I've heard something like that.
It's a common theme in medicine.
And I get that, but it's just like things change. There are other avenues, and although you did it that way, doesn't mean it was supposed to be that way.
Right. Which is why I feel so strongly about, being the type of resident to my med students or to my junior residents, later on, or as an attending to my residents. Because I feel like even if, like I said, I was fortunate. I wasn't treated poorly. Like, I had great rapport with my upperclassmen, with my residents that I worked with my attendings that I worked with. But for those people who didn't, some people take that and choose to treat their students or the people beneath them in that same way, because they're like, well, that's how I was treated, so now you gotta, work your way through it now. And I refuse to be that person. And I hope that I can remember this, how I am now as a med student, as I rise through the ranks.
Don't worry, we got to document it. I'll show you this video.
We do.
Which is what I was going to say, too. Is that I hope you can look back on this and do a little self-check. Because, again, we're human.
Yeah.
I don't think you get fully off track. But I think, when you're getting the grind of stuff and you're like,
Right.
fire hose.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, put your feet on the ground. Remember
Right.
why you're doing this. Remember how you wanted to
Exactly.
teach and guide and mentor. And then also the type of doctor you wanted to be. Because going back to your comment about, like, almost not wanting to be numb to people's losses, but also there's like a fine line of like life does happen,
Right.
losses do happen, and I don't think there's a perfect amount of time to grieve and sit in it and then move on to the next.
Right.
Where, okay, are we too empathetic? Are we too into a patient's lives, or are we moving on too fast at the
Right.
same time? But
Like, where's the line?
I mean, I imagine, again, as a consumer, if someone lost somebody and my loved one is the next one up to be taken care of by you,
Right.
yeah, I want you focused on their case.
Right.
Understandably, knowing that you lost somebody else,
Right.
a patient.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fine line, but just to ask that question of, like, am I becoming numb? Am I having time and space to process the lives that are being lost? Also acknowledging the lives that have been saved.
Right.
But,
Because it's easier to acknowledge the downfalls than it is.
oh, yeah, they stick with you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because most people, I think, I mean, I don't know the stats or anything like that, but I feel like most people end up with positive outcomes when they're taking care of patients, but it's the negative outcomes that they will remember, like for years and years and years to come. And it sometimes it plays a role in like how they practice moving forward. Like, so, yeah.
I guess now, because I know, and this is a great conversation because I love to hear her talk about it, and and I know it's going to age very well. I do. I truly do. I'm excited for you, and you already have people looking up to you, whether you know it or not. You do. And not only because she's one of my best friends, she is my best friend, period. I think like the mindset that you have going into it is the mindset I hope doctors or developing doctors would have going into such a important role in people's lives, you know, not just being like money hungry or just like wanting to cut, you know,
right.
Like, but like you really want to genuinely save lives.
Right.
So,
well, this isn't the field for money hungry. This is delayed gratification at its finest.
I know, but eventually, anyway, back to my main. I get what you're saying. It's dope.
There are other routes to go if you're money hungry.
There are. Okay?
Yeah.
Want to make a TikTok dance?
Right.
No.
Okay. Get you a little tiki-taki.
Yeah, if you buy this from my TikTok shop.
Right.
But on a more, I guess, personal side of you, like your profession pursuit aside, I don't know, is there anything that like has your focus on your own health journey right now, just being in your 20s, your late 20s?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm working on this for my health. This is important to me.
I feel like even though I'm not necessarily going into a primary care specialty, during med school, we have to rotate through primary care. And so you hear all these, need to make sure you're watching what you're eating, need to make sure you're watching your sugar, get your veggies, you know, get your exercise. And we be preaching and not following, practicing what we preach.
Yeah.
So
I'm
think,
dressed like I exercise, but I didn't today.
I feel like that's definitely opened my eyes to, we're telling patients all these things and sometimes we don't practice what we preach.
Yeah.
So,
you know, working on it. But I'm working on it.
And this is why I can like relate to them. Like, I understand this is a hard, tough.
It's like, you know, you need to.
Yes.
But I don't want to.
It's a hard thing to change.
Needs and wants.
It's a hard thing to change. So I think for me personally, I don't know if we didn't talk about it in previous episodes, but weight has always been a thing for me. Mm-hmm. So from like, I don't really think I started worrying about weight till I got to college. But I think
you were worried about it in college?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the whole nutrition team there and their problems.
Look.
Tea for another time. So I don't think I really started worrying about it until college because I feel like a lot of times that stuff comes up with people like in middle school and high school, but I was homeschooled and I was around a bunch of other tennis players. So wasn't nobody bullying or talking to anybody about their weight.
Yeah.
So I think that didn't become a thing until college. And even like looking back, I was like, girl, you was this big.
There's a picture that comes to my mind specifically where I was just like, girl, I was there. I seen you.
Yeah.
I saw you. Let me stop talking like
that. Let's act a little educated. Yeah, sorry.
I'm educated. And it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Anywho,
okay.
Weight. Because the fact of the matter is, the more weight you have on, you know, it's not good for you, right? Like if you're not in what's considered like the healthy range for your height, and your age, it's not good for you. Your heart works harder, you know, like your joints are working harder, you know, all that stuff. You know, it's bad for your blood sugar, your blood pressure, like it's proven.
Yeah.
You know? But it's also difficult. Like the good food, the food that tastes great and is yummy and delicious is usually not good for you. Unfortunately.
Dang.
Love a good burger.
Ooh.
I could live off of a French fry.
Oh, we had some French fries this week.
We had some salad with it though. We balanced
did.
it.
We did. We had a good burger too.
Like,
but anyway, yes, you're right.
Like
the
all
point
of that,
is,
all like there's no one saying that healthy food can't taste good, obviously. But the food that you want, that you be craving, not good for you. So, right. I think with me playing tennis all them years, working out 4 hours a day, and I could eat whatever I wanted, and it had nothing to do. No weight was gained.
Never.
Then you go and you abruptly stop, and you still eating whatever you want. You're going to put on the pounds. That's just simply how it works.
Yeah. My mama did say, once you get closer to 30, you're going to start to...
Yes. My mama said, watch it. Yeah.
You think? She said, take advantage of it right now.
So I think between weight, I didn't really see what my weight was doing to my physical health until I finally went back to my primary care doctor. And I had been avoiding it for like 2.5 years because I was like, I know what she's going to tell me. And I know what blood work she's going to make me get. And I know exactly what it's going to say. And what did it say? Exactly what I thought it did. So it's one of those things where you have to make small changes and keep with the small changes every day. You can't sit here and be like, I'm going to go on this diet and I'm going to start tomorrow and I'm not going to eat any junk food ever. I'm going to work out 7 days a week for an hour and a half each day. You're setting yourself up for failure. Like, you know what I mean?
It makes you not have a good relationship
with food. Yes.
Courses
yes.
Of working.
I would say my relationship with food was horrible for a long time. I mean, it's still not amazing, but I think it's getting better in small increments. Yeah. Right? So I think that's something that I've personally had to, change my view and my ideals on for my own personal health is my relationship with my food, my relationship with weight, my relationship with exercise, because I can't be telling patients to do stuff and not at least be trying to do it myself. And I think when I try to do it myself, then I can relate to them a little bit more. Well, it's so hard for me to cut out carbs. Girl, me too. I understand it's difficult. Well, what if you try this a few times a week? Oh, well, I tried this, and I think it was really helpful. If you hate it, we'll come back and try it again, or we'll try something else. So I think, that's been my personal
I think
experience.
A level of self-disclosure with patients, too, goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like, because then you're not like, you're just telling me this stuff, and you don't even, not that you're going to do everything that your patients do or you're going through, but, like, just for example's sake, some of them self-disclosure, like, hey, I get it. I truly get it.
Right.
Been through it.
It's hard.
I've had this conversation with my doctor, too, at one point. Yeah. But I know it works, and here's why. And these are some routes you can take.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way versus just saying, like, oh, this person just telling me what to do. They don't understand my struggle. The mental game that I have to play every day, not to eat that truffle fry. That's so good.
And to eat the whole container of truffle fries, too. Top to bottom.
So good.
So I guess what would you say is something that you have changed or experienced in your approach to your physical health?
So something that I guess in paraphrasing has my attention or changed recently is, believe it or not, I have gained weight. I'm really proud of it. Okay. I feel good about it.
Yes.
Honestly.
We're here for it. She got her grown woman body coming in.
It's coming. I think that's the lack of depression in my life as it stands right now. Yes. I think it's the love of a good man. A good man, Savannah.
That's a good man, Savannah.
That's contributed to that. So, I think more recently it's my awareness of the lack of exercise and not as a need, but more of like a stress reliever, but knowing that I think, I need to be healthy. Exercise is a piece of that, and not having to go to practice every day, kind of echoing what she's saying. That factors in. So I know I've had to find ways to engage myself that are like group work, like F45 or using ClassPass. Again, we are not sponsored, but just know
if you want to sponsor us, you can.
Shout out, commercial, we can do that. But those are some things that I've used recently, and I really enjoy them because I can change it up, and there's different group stuff going on. So that's thing on a personal route.
Well, before you hold that thought, before you continue, do you feel like since we've stopped with athletics, do you feel like you had a phase there where you were like, exercise, hell no, because you did it for so long? Do you feel like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I definitely took a sabbatical for sure. I think it was running. Hell no. I think it was
Okay.
running. Hell no.
Okay.
Nah,
All right.
nah.
All right. All right.
But
okay.
I mean, there was a stint where I was running with my brother here, and we got up to like 2 miles at a time, which was nice. I was running with my dog, and again, I like group work. I hate working out by myself, and I hate doing it in the gym and making up my own workouts. I truly do.
Fair.
So I think, yes, immediately after, desolate.
Yeah.
There was nothing. But then getting into my career and stuff, I realized the buildup of stress, knowing that working out is a good avenue for me. Running is a good avenue for me. I was going to say it doesn't take a lot. What I mean by that is like it doesn't take a lot of, I need to work this muscle group and do it this way.
You can just go.
Just kind of just go.
Yeah.
So that's where I started to feel like, hey, I might need to incorporate this back into my life. Now, is it every day at a certain time for X amount of hours? No, I'm more like, can I get in there 3 times a week? Because that's going to help me.
Right.
And sometimes it's not super high intensity stuff. Sometimes it's yoga, which I've really enjoyed. Kind of going into that mindfulness practice, slowing my life down, you know, and decompressing after all of the things that I've consumed at work.
Which is a lot of things.
Yeah, I got to release some of that. I got to find ways to get it out. I think talking in general about those things can be good, but I think there's just like a pause on talking about it, of just like, go work out, go get these good endorphins going in your body, and be intentional with positive things, more of a mindset versus like, let me talk about all the stressful things that I've been through. There are other avenues to release that heavy load. So yeah, having to incorporate that back has been something I've been working on. I can't say it's been a priority, a consistent one, because the consistency is where I struggle. But with my schedule right now, there's kind of no excuse of like, you can get 3 days in a gym or a workout class or a yoga class, you can fit it in.
Right.
So I just have to remind myself of the importance that plays not only in my health, but my mental health. They do a little tangle together.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then more recently, I know I've shared this with Nez, I've been very focused on, I'm 20.
Yeah, go ahead, say
28.
it. Yeah.
28. Okay. And me and Nez have talked about this. A family is more closer in my future than it is not, you know? So something that's kind of had my interest, I kind of listen to podcasts on, or certain doctors talking about it, is like fertility and like, how do you prepare your body and things that women can do to prepare their body health-wise.
Right.
To eventually, when you're in a space of wanting to have a baby, kind of increases your chances or set the foundation for a healthy pregnancy. That's kind of had my interest lately, which has me interested in, asking more questions with my provider. Again, not that I'm looking to have a baby right now. It's just kind of that there's a lot of preventative work, I think, that can be done.
A lot of pre-work that you can do. Yeah.
Which is new to me, and not things that necessarily were taught to me. Again, kind of going back to the family aspect, but through social media or like seeing snippets of fertility doctors being interviewed. I'm like, that's interesting. And I'll go listen to the podcast, you know? So that kind of is a focus of mine too, of like health-wise, body-wise, things I need to learn about, things I didn't even know as a woman. I think some people assume that women just know everything, that that if you have this body part, you know how it works and the best ways to go about it. But that's not true. I've learned a lot just kind of listening to podcasts, which I think is pretty cool. So,
I mean, I love that the information is more easily accessible. I mean, obviously, you got to make sure people, have the right credentials and actually know where they're talking about, and research, that kind of stuff. But I think it's great that this information is more readily accessible with the use of social media between, like podcasts and, YouTube and things like that. It has its up and down because people can get misinformation that way too. True. But, I feel like it's really, because sometimes people were only able to get this information after they waited months and met with a doctor, and then when they have the follow-up questions, you have to wait forever to get back in or get a response. So I think this stuff is like good to have people like open their eyes to this information and have it readily available to them. Like, oh, I can just go look it up and listen to what they have to say about it, because they're a reputable doctor and have good information and did their research. Da 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 da.
Yeah, and again, these are actual doctors I've listened to, not people who think or may who heard from her. You know, and one of the podcasts I listen to is Diary of a CEO. I've talked to you about that one. I really like the people he interviews. And that was one that I listened to, and she got all her letters.
She was on point.
She was on point. She did her research. She went to school.
I don't know which doctor she's talking about.
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. But in a general sense of just consuming information that I was not aware of beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok University. YouTube University.
YouTube University is real.
You know. So. But yeah. Maintain your health, you all.
Please.
You know.
Please.
Grow food in your backyard. Get you some chickens. Egg prices are out.
If I was an outside girly, I'd do it.
I get chickens from I get eggs from my brother. He got some chickens.
He does. Maybe my man's will be a outside man, and he can manage the garden. And
if not, y'all can get some eggs from me. I'm gonna have.
And the chickens.
Zoe said no, but I say yes.
Oops.
Whoops.
Somebody got to do it.
I'm doing it for us.
Right. Yeah. And give me some eggs too while you back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Any other tidbits?
Any other things to speak about
on the health journeys? That metabolism is gonna change up on you. You don't digest and metabolize things the same as you get older.
It's really really disrespectful. Like
drinking, food wise, you might become lactose intolerant.
Thank God I didn't, because the way I consume cheese and dairy products.
Yeah, I'm good on the cheese. It's the ice cream that be getting me sometimes.
Because you're a sweet Skirly. I am not.
My grandmother used to say sugar makes you sweeter.
Anyway, it does. Makes your blood sugar sweeter.
Anyway. That's why I'm so sweet.
Anyway, she's not getting that metabolism, so I'm serious.
Change up on you.
Yeah, and I hear after you get to 30, it's just really like a punch in the throat.
We're close. There are markers from 25, 26, 27, 28 where it's just like,
whoa,
my back.
Yeah.
My knee. Oh, I can't drink like I used to.
Oof.
It just keeps going downhill.
We still
gotta be on the uphill.
We still gonna have a fun time though, but we need to be on the uphill.
Moderation.
Let's take care of ourselves.
Like I can have one glass of wine. Just kidding. I can
not a whole bottle.
No, yeah, it's not good to drink
a whole bottle.
Anyway, we're not getting to that conversation.
Anyway,
we're fine
for another time.
All right, friend.
All right.
Well,
I think it's time we transition to the part of the episode that we like to call tea time.
Tea time.
So I have this week's tea time question.
I don't know what it is.
It's very lighthearted, y'all, because we just talked about health, okay? And health is wealth, but it could be a lot sometimes. So, my tea time question for you is, what that you would like to share is a bucket list item that you feel like you absolutely must do in this lifetime to feel like, yes, I've lived. I've gotcha.
Go to Greece.
Okay.
Jump in the ocean.
Okay.
In my birthday suit. Yeah.
That's very specific.
Then I will have lived.
That's so specific.
Or bungee jump.
In Greece, in the ocean, in your birthday suit.
Yeah.
Or bungee jump. Two different extremes.
Yeah. I like the first one though. First.
Okay. All right. That's very specific.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay.
Can I get arrested for that? I don't care. We're not gonna talk
Possibly.
about it right now. I'll look. You know my ass. I'll look into the rules. And stuff. Then it'll be like a very dark. It'll be dark outside, secluded area. No one would.
We're gonna check the rules and get back to y'all if she's allowed to do that.
That would be fun.
Okay.
You know, I just be coloring in the lines too much in my life. I just be on the straight and narrow. I try to be good. Sometimes I want to live a little, and I want to do that.
All right. I support you, friend. Do it.
Good.
I'll be there cheering you on. Yes!
I know. You're probably bailing me out.
She did
I'll
it.
cry if I get arrested.
In a foreign country.
Yes. Please.
Help.
I'm not built for this.
Let me out. I just wanted to cross it off my bucket list.
It's crossed. Now let me go home. I won't come back. You can ban me.
Oh my gosh.
Woo.
All right.
Yeah. You weren't prepared for that one.
I
don't
was
think.
not. I mean, you weren't prepared for the question, so I definitely wasn't prepared for the answer.
Oh, man.
Okay.
What about you?
All right, so mine, I've thought about this.
Okay.
You personally, because I feel like you can relate, you know how I feel about elephants. I like both Indian and African elephants, but African elephants are my favorite.
Motherland.
So a bucket list item for me would be to, one, it's like a two-parter. One, go on a safari and see them in their natural element, like in real life.
Just living their lives.
Yes, but specifically on a safari.
Okay.
And then two would be going to an elephant sanctuary where you really get to interact with them, like up close. And maybe see the babies too.
I think we can make that happen.
That's a bucket list item for me because I really think that it will be like a spiritual encounter for me. That's how deeply I care about elephants.
Well, if we can get you a
I'll probably
golden
cry.
weekend on schedule, we can make it happen. We can make it happen.
A nice golden weekend. Huh?
Yeah. We can make it happen.
All right.
I'll make sure it happens.
Yeah.
As rare as those weekends happen.
But we'll get them. We'll get them.
That's a great one.
That's on my bucket list because
We both have a love for the elephant.
I
We
love
both
them
got
so
the
deep.
tattoos.
They tatted on me.
Tatted on me.
Tatted on me.
But that's a good one. I can see you really want that on your bucket
Yeah.
list. We're going to cross her off.
We're going to get it. We need to write down our actual bucket list now that I think about it.
Didn't you start doing that? It was like 300.
That's different. So
Okay.
I did that last year. It's like you write down 300 things that you want from God.
Didn't Steve Harvey say to do that? Was that
I don't know if
inspired
it
by
was
Steve?
Steve. I don't know who
I
said
thought
to
it
do
was
it.
like
Maybe it was.
Steve.
But you write down 300 things that you want from God. And you come to the end of the year and you look at what he gave you. And you be grateful that he gave you some things off the list. And you just keep checking back periodically.
I hope you say thank you. As
Exactly.
much as you ask for things, people.
Exactly.
People, audience. Shout out to our 80-something followers on Instagram.
Period. Pew, pew, pew,
50-something
pew.
followers on TikTok.
Yeah. We're trying to interact with y'all. So, whatever questions y'all got, comments, concerns, things you want to hear about, topics you want to know about, or you want us to chat about, go ahead and let us know on
Send it.
any of the platforms.
Yeah, because season 1 is coming to a close very soon.
We got
about
one more
to be
episode.
in episode 10.
Episode 10 will be the last episode of season 1.
And then we're starting season 2.
Yeah.
But
Don't
this-
worry. We're not going to leave y'all without us for too long.
Oh, no. Y'all have had enough of that.
Yeah.
We've been really working out some kinks in this first season. And we're
Yeah.
finding our pain points in areas of growth because, again, it's the stable, unstable podcast.
Yes.
So you've definitely gotten that from us. But I think it's been fun. I think I've
Yeah.
really been having a great time just talking with my bestie on the internet.
I think even from our first episode to now, it's been a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a good time.
Awesome. Well, I'm
So-
excited. This has been a great conversation. And as we usually say, like, share, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your uncle, tell your daddy, tell somebody.
Don't care who you tell, just tell somebody.
Just tell them.
Okay.
Okay. And we look forward to getting into it next time on the Unstable Podcast. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Very well done.
That was great.